So what if I told you, like most golfers, you're delivering your irons like this with this loft, whereas we want to see much more of this to help create ball and ground contact and maximise your distance and accuracy. Well, if you think you get it wrong, keep watching. So for many golfers, this is a massive issue that they set up with, and I've got a 30-degree 7-iron, like I said, in my hand here, and put what they feel is a good swing on it, and they can thin it like that one, they can top it, they can fat it, or they get that one that's a decent strike and the ball just launches up in the air and it's just a very weak flight. We can see that one there drifting over to the right. Actually was still a little bit thin, but just not a long way for that club head speed and not particularly accurate. So I did a video a few months ago about the importance of getting the loft of your iron less at impact than you are at address. And there was a lot of comments made about why would you simply not just take, instead of the 7-iron, why would you not just take a 6-iron or a 5-iron that will give less loft, that will give you more distance? Yes, in theory that's correct. But what you see with all the best players in the world is that at address, they're very similar to there, but their impact position is very, very different. So the shaft leans forward, it de-lofts the golf club, but the reason they're doing that is they're moving the low point of their swing ahead of the golf ball so that you create that ball and then ground contact. And if you're somebody like with that last one there, who's coming into impact very much this way and trying to maintain all that loft there, you're going to struggle with strike, you're going to struggle with low point, and you're not going to transfer the energy from the club into the golf ball. And there is no better feeling than really crushing one of those iron shots. And if you don't get this right, you just will not make that happen on a regular basis. So like I said, 30-degree 7-iron here. Now, for a lot of golfers, when I see them swing, that 30-degree, even on that one that they've struck really, really well, is going to launch up in the air. We can see there a launch angle, nearly 23 degrees. Low point just slightly ahead of the golf ball, so the club was moving down 0.2 degrees. And that one, to be fair, did okay at 153. But you just don't see the best players in the world doing that. You see them from a similar address position, de-lofting that golf club. Actually helps them generate a little bit more club head speed. Low point moves further ahead 2 inches there. Clubs travel down 2.4 degrees. Launch angle at just under 18. And then the carry out at 167. So it's a big pickup. And that one that was 23 degrees launch, that was a good strike. You know, it's so easy to thin it like I did at that one early on, or you actually find the ground at the low point and you fat it. Once you've fatted one, you come back even higher and top the next one. And it's not just the lack of distance, but it's the inconsistency of strike that it generates. So don't ever think that if the ball's launching too high, you just simply need to change the loft of the club. What you need to do is understand that from that address position there, at impact, you're trying to get much more weight into that lead side. As the weight moves that way and the body starts to open up, you see how it pulls the handle forward. You're a little narrower at that point, so you will then continue until the widest part of your golf swing is after the ball. That'll be that ball, turf, and obviously don't try and knock one out of the range like you've done there. Now, the reason I talk about the angles in my videos is I've got TrackMan to give me some feedback, and I appreciate most golfers haven't. But if you get a chance to get to the driving range now, there's some great technology down at driving ranges that you can monitor launch angle. So I would say with that 30-degree 7-iron for me, I was pretty happy with the last one I did, but my little challenge would be, can I feel more exaggerated, that I'm going to try and keep more loft off the golf club? And that should move my low point further ahead, improve my strike, and improve my accuracy. So I'm going to try and keep the loft much more off, and I'm going to do it by moving nice and early towards the target, down and towards the target, so that as my body opens up out of the way, I should be much more this way at impact. So I'm going to set myself a target of maybe 15 degrees. So the strike felt lovely. Right out the middle, some good club head speed. Low point's gone a little bit further ahead, like I said, I hoped it would. Angle of attack is then 3 degrees down. Launched at 15.1. Spin still great at 6,200. And carry at 171. Now, I do appreciate, and this is, if you're watching this, you might not be swinging at that club head speed. I do appreciate if your club head speed's a little bit on the slower side, you still want to feel this. But as you get better at this, it might mean that some of your longer irons, 4-iron, 5-iron, maybe 6-iron at a push, you might struggle getting the ball to its full peak height. Don't have a problem with that, because as long as the ball striking's good, all the other clubs in the bag are going to do what they should be doing. That is when then maybe change of equipment, maybe hybrids, lofted fairway woods become better. But if you strike the ball more consistently, you are definitely going to become a better golfer, shoot better scores, and enjoy your golf much, much more. So that felt good for me, really exaggerated. And I think even for me, my tendency is to just keep a little bit too much loft, and then that slightly thin one there, we can see that strike point just a little bit lower on the face, low point ahead, launch angle decent because of being a bit thin, and we can see spin still great, but that carry definitely back a little bit, and it doesn't feel great. And that's always been kind of my bad iron shot. So I've never really taken much of a divot, which I won't if I'm getting a bit too much this way, because the divot's always going to be in the wrong place. So I want to feel nice, and once I'm getting towards the top, shift down and left towards the target, then that lead leg can start to straighten, which is going to stop me crashing into the ground. And again, let's see if we can get around about that 15 degree for me. That again felt great. And even without looking at my numbers there, I know I can see the way the ball sets off a bit lower. I can feel how good that strike is, and I know as you present that little bit less loft at impact, you get more energy from that club head into the golf ball. The ball's going to go further, and even though I'm doing this with 7-iron, you know, you can do this with every single club on the ground. Now, as the clubs get a bit longer, the ball moves forward, so the low point won't be as far ahead of the golf ball. But you need to make sure that you've got that ball and then ground contact when the ball's sat on the ground. And if you can start de-lofting those clubs a little bit better through impact, you're going to improve your low point control, improve your speed, improve your distance and your control, and ultimately all shots on the ground become so consistent, it's going to take your game to a whole new level.